to go over what we did today in our Saturday session. So first I'm going to explain what you need to do, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. So first you need to go to modules, and then you're going to go down here to hybrid session number 2. You're going to click there and you're going to write in 300 words. You're going to submit 300 words summarizing what you learn, how to learn, what did you learn using Excel today. And also you're going to attach an Excel file where we're going to do some of the tables and pies and bars you need to create for your case study. So this is where you're going to submit your assignment for hybrid reflection assignment number 2. And don't forget to include your file, the Excel file, with everything I'm going to show in a minute, okay? So now let's go to the actual Excel. So first I'm going to show you in an announcement I already created. I sent one last Saturday we made, which is case study. And today I'm going to create another one, which is case study session 2, where I'm going to include my recording. So case study here, I have example, and this is the example. This is what you need to follow when you create your own case study. So now case study should look like this. You have the cover page. We have last time we already have ready the introduction and purpose. We're going to put this all together next time. Next Saturday we meet, and then this is the things we did today. So first, this is my data here. This is the data, and I already have it in Excel file. This is the Excel file. I already have my data. Have it like that. So the data you created last week we made is going to be the one you're going to use. I'm going to show you my example of case study. So now, for what you're doing first, we're going to calculate the qualitative analysis. And we're going to create 2 frequency tables, and also we're going to create 2 pies. And that's what I'm going to show you first. So this is the qualitative analysis you have to have in your case study. So now, how you do those 2 things? So first, we're going to create the geographic area. So this is my data. I have 10 students. These are their ages, and then we have which part of San Antonio there. The geographic area of San Antonio, we have Central, Eastern, all the different areas in San Antonio. We have socioeconomic classification, and I'm just going to use socioeconomic classification. I'm going to use CES. I'm sorry, it's backwards. It's SEC classification. Start with C. Yeah, there you go. So that's what I'm going to use. So when I say SEC, that's socioeconomic classification, and we have upper class, middle, lower, and all that. So this is my data. So first I'm going to use the qualitative parameters, which are the geographic area and also the socioeconomic classification, and I'm going to create the frequency table. So what I'm doing, I'm going to highlight this first, my data, this column only. I'm going to click insert, and I'm going to do recommended table, and this is how it looks like, okay? And then I'm just going to do, okay. And it's going to be, this is my result, and it's going to be in another sheet. So it's down sheet 2. And now when you click at sheet 2, you can change down here, you can change the name. You could name it like, or you can right click, and you can, when you right click here, or let me fix this. So let's say this is the location, the frequency table, and also the pie. Okay. So this is the file, and the first sheet is technically, when I double click, I can change this label for sheet 1. I can do, this is my data. Okay. So we have those 2 sheets. We have the location pie when we did the location. Now this is the frequency table. Okay. Now most of the time, this number 10 down here is not going to be 10. It's going to be, in this case, it's going to be 55. How you change that? you're going to click here at account of geographic, and you're going to go ahead and change the value field settings. It has to be in count, not sum. Usually it's set up, Excel is set up to do the sum. So if it's a sum, it's going to give me 55. It's accumulate the frequency. So we need to set it up to count. If you don't have it count, make sure you change that. Okay. So that's the first one. And then I'm going to create, using this data, I'm going to create a pie. So what I'm doing, I'm going to highlight my data, and I'm going to go insert, and this is the pie here. You can click, you can use 2D. 2D is good enough. Okay. So click there and you have your pie. You can move it. You can do whatever you want with it. You can change the colors if you want, play with it. Now, what I like to do is when I click on this plus, I can put the data labels, click on that. And then I like using the data call out. So when you click on that, you're going to have the percentages of your frequency. So this is pretty much the basics we need to use for the case study. Okay. So we have the percentages for each area of San Antonio. This is the geographic area. Okay. So that's the first pie and the first frequency table. Now, how you create the second one? You do the same. You're going to highlight the socioeconomic classification the same way. You're going to go insert recommended pivot table, and you're going to do OK. And then it's going to open in another sheet 3. And this sheet 3, I'm going to name it as, what is that? Socioeconomic classification pie, because you're going to create the pie also. Okay. So that's my sheet here. And I do the same as with I did with the location. I'm just going to highlight my frequency table, and I'm going to go insert the pie. Okay, 2D is good enough. If you want to play, make 3D, that's okay also. Whatever, just don't do donut. It's kind of the data. Reading the data is a little more complicated. I mean, you can still do that. That's fine. But 2D, I prefer 2D. It's kind of look more professional. And then you go here and do the data label. And I like data call out. Okay. So if you like another colors, if you like to do it different way, that's also okay. Okay. So that's how you do the first qualitative data analysis. So going back to my example I have, so far we created the frequency table, the first one here and the second one, those are the two tables, and also we created the pies. So these two give me the qualitative analysis. You see, this is the qualitative analysis. It says it's right in here, okay, in the top here. Okay, now the next part of this case study is going to be about bivariate qualitative data analysis. So here we're going to create a few more tables. See, this is the next part of your case study. We're going to create, this is the frequency table here, over here, which is also called cross-tabulation. And we're going to calculate 3% table. So we have this table down here. It's table 5A. It's about, or it's also called contingency table, where you have cross-tabulation, and this is percent over the grand total. And then you have two more percent tables, which over the row column and the total column, and the column percentages. Okay, so we have calculate, show how to do those, and also we're going to create these bar graphs. Down the bar graph is based on the first frequency table, not the 3% tables we have. So we create 3% tables and one frequency, which is also cross tabulation table. In that frequency table, you include both of the qualitative parameters. We include the geographic location and also socioeconomic classification. So both of those are included in the same frequency table, which is called cross tabulation. That's why it's called cross tabulation, because you have two things which kind of you do like cross tabulation. See what's happening in that table. Okay. So now we're going to use this, we're going to create these bar graphs using the frequency table, not the percentages. So keep that in mind. And how I know that, because here we have, you're looking at the y-axis of these bar graphs, it's from 0 to 2, and those are exactly the frequencies I have. So if I go back here to my frequency table, So these are my three. This is what I'm going to receive after I do the example, the same example in Excel. You see the most frequency in these numbers here in the middle is we have 0, 1, and 2 is the biggest one, which is North San Antonio middle class. Okay. Now in this cross tabulation and this bar, actually we're going to create based on the cross tabulation. We don't include the totals. Okay, they're not included when you create that bar graph. So now let me show you how to do this in Excel. So going back to the Excel and going back to the data, the first sheet I have. Everything I'm creating is going to be in different sheets. That's why it's easier to kind of follow, and it's easier to kind of find everything, because if you put everything in one sheet, sometimes all the calculations Excel is doing is going to mess up and it's going to give you an error. So that's happened sometimes. That's why I prefer putting them in different sheets. Okay. So now we're going to create the cross tabulation. So now I'm going to highlight the whole table, all the data I have, everything without empty spaces, right? I highlighting everything. Then I'm going to go to a insert and I'm going to click at the first one, pivot table. When I click there, I need to make sure you have it in new worksheet. Okay. And then you're going to do okay. And then after you do that, you're going to see this. It doesn't look like pivot table, like it doesn't look like a cross tabulation. But when you click inside here, if you click outside of the table, you don't see that menu in the right side. So when I click inside this pivot table given, I'm going to see this menu, which is pivot table fields. So I'm going to click at the student number, which in your case could be names or something like that. And I'm going to click at the two qualitative parameters, with the geographic area and socioeconomic classifications. So that means I'm not including the data, which is numbers, ages. I'm not including the ages because with the ages, we're going to do something else later. So now if you do that, looking at this cross tabulation, it doesn't look exactly like the example I have in the PDF file. So what I need to do is looking here, see Excel is kind of creating it automatically, putting everything in a row. So what you're doing, you're going to take one of these, doesn't matter which parameter, you're going to take one of these and you're going to drag it to column. So one have to be in the row and the other one have to be in the column. And then the number of students or the names, the first column in your data should be here in these sigma values. Now, if you look at this cross tabulation, it has 55 here, see? Because this 55 is actually accumulating all the frequencies. So what you need to do is click here at sum of the students. So click at this, go to value field settings, click on that. And then again, we're going to change the sum. You're going to change to count. And when you do that, you're going to have exactly the grand total here is going to be 10 students because my data has 10 students. So this is your cross tabulation. In the rows you have the geographic areas, and in the columns you have the socioeconomic classifications, and then you have the total. So here you can change this total to just total, because this is not total. This is called row total and column total. And the grand total is only this here, which is the grand total. This is the grand total here. The 10, the number 10 we get here, the last, this G10 field, it's exactly your grand total. Okay. So you have the totals also going to calculate, and this is the frequency. So we have one student, which is in one student from Central San Antonio who is in upper socioeconomics. We have one student who is in East San Antonio, and one lower middle class, and so on. Now, what you can do here, if you want to play with this, you can change colors. I can do this. I'm sorry. I can highlight this, and I can go home and just put everything in the middle, so it's kind of look more even and stuff, okay, and so on. Okay, we're gonna play more of this next time when you take everything from Excel and put it in a Word and create your actual final case study project. But right now we're just learning how to calculate everything. So this is how you calculate the cross tabulation. Now, based on this cross tabulation, we have to create the bar graphs. So what I need to do, I'm going to highlight only this data without the totals, right? Remember, we're not including the totals. Everything highlight only this. And then you go insert, and the bar graph is right here. And again, we can use 2D column. And there you go. You got your bar graph. And again, if you want to play with it, change the colors, do whatever else you want to do. Okay. So this is how it looks like. This is the bar graph for your cross tabulation. Okay. And this sheet 4, I'm going to name it cross tabulation. I'm just going to do it like cross tab and also bar graph. Okay. So this is what I have. Now, if you want to play with this, you can right click and you can just change the colors and stuff if you want. Okay, the data could be the red or whatever you want to do with this. Okay, you can do the bars, the different sheets in different colors, or just play with it. Maybe you know a lot of different things with Excel. So now we did the cross tabulation and we did the bar graph. Also, the next part is we need to do all this. We did this. So those two tables, table 4A and 4B, they're pretty much the same table. One is with tiles, the other one is with numbers. We can use it the same in Excel. I'll show you how to change that in Excel. Okay, so those two tables are pretty much the same table, and I'll show you how to change that. And now we're doing the percentage table. So the first table we have here, 5A, it's percent over the grand total. How I know it's the grand total? Because only 100 I have in this grand total box here. This, the last one is 100. So that tells me that it's percent over the grand total. Now looking at the other 2% tables, these two. So if I look at the first one, see, these are the total, but these are the row totals, right? All of those totals, they're hundreds. So this is the first row, North San Antonio. This is the total here. So these are the percent over the row totals. And then the same way here for the contingency table for the column total. And I know that because you have hundreds in each of the columns, the total columns. Okay. Now let me show you how to do those. And here you have explanation what that means. So when you write this, we're going to talk about that next time when you meet on Saturday, how to create all these things. So now we're going to create this 3% table, one over the grand total and two over the row total and column total. So how you do that? Going back to Excel, going back to my data. I'm going to create those three tables in different sheets, but pretty much you're going to start with cross tabulation again. That means I'm going to highlight all the data, everything without empty spaces. I'm going to go insert and pivot table. And then make sure it's a new worksheet. Okay. And then this is sheet 5, and this is what you look like. The same way like cross tabulation. Now here you're going to click the same thing, student, geographic, and socioeconomic. And again, this is 55 the grand total. So that means I need to go to sum of students, field value field settings, and change it to count. So the calculations are correct. And then again, I need to take one of those two parameters, the geographic area, the socioeconomics classification, one of those, and I need to drag it to a column. So pretty much you have the same cross tabulation we did in the bar here, cross tabulation, the same. But what you're going to do here, you're going to copy this table. So click at this, do Control C, copy that, and I'm going to paste Control V. So click in the next box down, Control V, and I need it 2 more times. And I'm going to do this 1 more time, like that. So we're going to need these 3 tables, the same tables, but they're just gonna do different things, different calculate. We're gonna go different percentages here. So how you change this cross tabulation, which I already did, and here I'm gonna put in this sheet 5, I'm gonna change it to percent tables. So those are all the percent tables. Okay. So how you gonna change all these tables, the cross tabulation tables? How I'm gonna change it to percents? I'm gonna click at the first table. So somewhere in the first table, doesn't matter. So I can see these pivot table fields in the side for that first table I have. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go down here to count of students. You see that? Value field settings, I'm gonna click on that again. And when this open, where you change it to count, remember that? There is another tab which says show value as. So when I click at show value as, I'm going to see here how this table is going to look like. Usually it's set up to no calculations. So when I click at this no calculations, it's going to open menu, drop menu, where I have different options. You have percent of grand total, percent of column total, percent of row total. So those are the three tables we need to use. So if I click grand total and then OK, this is my percent table over the grand total. See, the only 100 is here, the grand total. And then I do the same for the next table. So now I'm going to click in this, make sure you click on the second table. So this pivot table field is for the second table now. And I do the same, click on the count of students, value field settings, and then show value as. Then you click at no calculation and change it to column total. So the second one is going to be the column total. And if you look at your column totals down here, everything is 100, 100, 100. The last row is hundreds. Yes? And then you do the same with the third table. Make sure you click in the third table somewhere. Doesn't matter where you click, somewhere in the third table. So you have the pivot table fields in the side for that third table. And then you do the same. You go count of students, click on that. Value field settings, show value as, and you change no calculation to percent of row total. When you click on that, and then you do OK, all these become percentages, okay? And that's how you do those percent tables, okay? And next one, so we did the percent tables. Gonna go back to the example. We did all these three tables. Then we did the bar graph. And the next part of this case study, it's about quantitative analysis. Now, the quantitative analysis, we're going to work only with the ages, with the numbers. So we're going to work with the parameter, which is numbers, whatever you have in your data. So in my case, I have ages. If you have whatever else numbers in your data, that's what you're going to use. So I'm going to use the dates, the ages here, and I'm going to create the histogram. And also, I'm going to calculate all these things in this table. I'm going to calculate the mean, the median, the mode, standard deviation, range, quartile 1, 2, 3, IQR, 10th percentile, and 90th percentile. So those are the things I need to do with my data, which is the quantitative data, which is called, this is the part of your case study, which is called quantitative analysis, okay? So the quantitative analysis include the histogram and all these calculations of your numbers. So let's start with the histogram. To create the histogram, looks like this. We need these bin numbers. So the bin numbers usually, sometimes they're given, sometimes you create them. So here I need to look at my data, which are the ages of my students. And these are the ranges of this is how I decided to be, okay? I'm gonna have all the students younger than 20. And then after 20, which means from 21 to 26 is the next bar in this histogram. The next one is going to be from 27 technically, because this print is 26 means don't include 26. Right after 26 is actually 27 to 33 and so on, 33 to 40, or technically 34 to 40, and then more than 40. So we need to have these being set up in your Excel before I do the histogram. So I'm going to go back to the data and I'm going to include beans here. So what are the beans? So the bean is, let me double check out there. So we have less than 20, 20 to 26. Okay. So we have less than 20. So I'm going to just put the upper limit, 20. So everything before less than 20 is in this category, in this bar. Then you have 20 to 26. Again, you put 26 only. The next one was, I think 33. Let me just check the numbers. 33, 40. And 40. Which is more than 40, right? Now, when you do this in Excel, okay, I'm going to write down here in Excel what that means. So these beans, what that means, so here I'm going to put what is the actual range of the age ranges. So I'm going to write it here. So you create this, you set it whatever you wanted the data to be in the in the in your histogram. So if you have ages, you decide to be by 5, by 10, whatever you want, okay? So here the ranges is gonna be 20 means less than 20 or younger than 20. The next one is, oh, what, let's do this. Okay, so the next one, I just want to have a little space here. So the next one is going to be after 20, but less than 26. So that means from 21 to 26 years old. The next one is going to be from 27. The next after 26 is 27 to 33. And the next is going to be from 34 to 40. And then Excel is creating one for, so you don't do more than 40 because Excel is going to create one for you more than 40. So there's going to be category more than 40, but Excel is going to create that. You don't include it in the bins, okay? So now these are the bins. These are the numbers you need for bin only. So now let me show you how to do Excel, how to do the histogram in Excel. So what you need to do is you go to data, and then you have to have this data analysis toolbox in the end. If you don't have this is what you're doing. You go to file, you have to open it. You go to file, you go to the bottom in options, click on that options. And then you're going to go to add-ins. Click at add-ins. Okay, and it says down here, it says manage add-ins, Excel add-ins. You click go. And then it's going to open this menu. So make sure the first one is clicked, analysis tool pack. Click on that. If it's not clicked, you have to click it. And then you say, okay. So when you do that, your data analysis is going to be right here. So we're going to the data tab in the top and then data analysis. So that's how you do histogram. So click at the data analysis. Now, data analysis have a lot of tests you're running with your data. We're not doing that right now, but you need to find here, we have ANOVA test, we have correlation, covariance, all these F tests, Z tests, T tests. Oh, there are a lot of tests here. So what you need to do is find histogram. Click at histogram, and then you do OK. And then here we're going to input your histogram, you're going to input your data. So click at this input range, click at this box, and then highlight your numbers, only the numbers here. Okay. Now, if you include the label, you have to click on these labels right here. Click it, but I don't include it usually because sometimes I forget to click and it's give me error. So I just highlight only the numbers. So the numbers are from B2 all the way to B11. And then after that, you click at the bin range is the second box here. Click inside, your marker should be inside. And then you come here and highlight your numbers only for the bin. You don't include the label also, okay? Include those 4 numbers only. And then the output, let's do it in a new worksheet, okay? And then you do okay. Oh, sorry, I forget something. Okay, I forget something. I forget to do hold on. Let's do it one more time. I forget to do the bar, right? So let's delete this. I'm just gonna delete this. Or you could just leave it there. So let's do it again. I forget to click something. Sorry about that. So going back to the data, and that way you can see how we do it. So go to data analysis, go to histogram, okay? And then everything is already there, but I need to click a chart output because you need that histogram as a chart, right? So click a chart output and then you do okay. And this is the histogram, and this is your frequency table. See, the frequency table use the bin, and this is the frequency. That means, what is the frequency? That means I have one student who is younger than 20 years old. I have 4 students between 21 and 26. I have 3 students between 27 and 33, 1 between 34 and 40, and I have 1 older than 40. More means more than 40, obviously. See, Excel is creating one more for more than 40, always. And now this is the histogram. Now, if you look at this histogram, it's not exactly like the histogram we have in the example. See, the histogram here looks a little different. See, the histogram is like the bars are connected. So this is what you're doing to connect the bars. So you're going to go here in this histogram. You're going to double click in one of the bars. So just pick one bar, double click on it. And here you're going to change the gap width. You're going to change it to 0. That means there is no gap between the bars. And that's going to look like actual histogram. Okay. So that's how you do your histogram. Okay. And I'm going to delete the sheet 6. So that way I'm going to show how to, if you make mistake, you can just delete that sheet, delete it. Yes. And I'm going to go to sheet 7 and I'm going to change the name to histogram. So this is where my histogram is going to be. And then going back to the data, we need to finish all the calculations for the quantitative data analysis, which is, so we did the histogram. So now we're doing these calculations in Excel. Now, in this table, you don't need to set it up exactly like this, but you need to have the mean, the median, all these things. And the second column give you what is the formula in Excel. I'm going to do all of these formulas to show you, and then you have the value. So when you do the formula, you don't need to put this second column here in your actual case study. The second one is here just to help you out. So this column, the second one, you don't need to put what you put in Excel. Only you need the mean and the number for the mean and the interpretation. Okay. So let's just start with this mean, median, mode. Let me put that in here in Excel. So I'm going to use this page with the data. So I'm going to put mean, median, mode, and I put mode in the same. Go down. Okay. Mode, and then you have the standard deviation. And then you have, what else you have there? I forget. The range, and then quartile 1. You have quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3. You have IQR. And then what else you have there? Let me see. 10 percentile, 90 percentile. So those are all the calculations we need to do. Okay. 10 percentile and 90 percentile. And then 90 percentile. So how you do that? So if I want to calculate the mean, I'm going to just click at the box next to the mean. Let me just make it a little bigger so you can see. Okay. So next to the mean, I'm going to click in the next box and I'm going to put equals, because all the formulas you're calculating quantitative data, you need to put equal because you're going to use different functions. So now, if I want to find the mean, I'm going to type it in average. That's the function in Excel, and I'm going to use the first one. So double click at the first one, and then go ahead and highlight your numbers all the way to the bottom without the label, and then close the parentheses. And when you press enter, it's going to give you the answer. So that's your average, that's your mean. The next one is the median. The function for median is equals median. So it's only one median. So I'm going to double click on that. You're going to highlight your data, close the parentheses, and press enter. 26 is the median. Now the mode, if you want to calculate the mode, you're going to put equals, put the mode is the function, the one here, the only mode. Double click on it, highlight your data, and then close the parentheses and enter. Now, if there is no mode, because that's happened, mode means a number which appear the most. So if you have no repeating numbers in your data, like if all the ages are different numbers, I'm not going to have a mode. So it's going to say NA. So Excel is going to just put NA. So that means there is no mode, which is okay. It's happening in some data. It's okay. Then the standard deviation, you're going to put equal STDV. That's your function DEV. And then you're going to highlight your data again from the first to the last numbers, close the parentheses and press enter. And that's my standard deviation. I'm going to show you, check the numbers I got and the numbers in the example, of course, in a minute. Okay, so that's how you calculate all these mean, median, mode, standard deviation. Now, calculating the range, there is a no exactly function in Excel where you calculate the range. The range is the biggest number minus the smallest number in your data, but you don't need to do it by hand. You can do it in Excel, creating your own formula, and this is how you do it. You put equals, and you're going to get the max. Max means getting the biggest number in your data, max, highlight your numbers. Make sure you highlight everything from the first to the last. Then you close the parentheses. That's the biggest number minus, you just continue minus, and then start typing in mean. Mean. So mean is the minimum of all the numbers, and then highlight your numbers again, and then you close the parentheses. So that's what you need to put in Excel, equals the maximum of all the numbers minus the minimum of all the numbers again. Make sure you put it exactly in this format. The parentheses is important to close it. Minus is after the parentheses of the maximum and so on, okay? And then when you press enter, it's going to give you the range. So the range is 25 years is the range from the lowest to the biggest, okay? Then the next three functions, we're going to use the next three calculations are for quartile 1, 2, 3. What quartile means, you put your data in increasing order and divide it by 4 pieces, pretty much by 4 quarters. The first quartile, there is a function which you put equals quartile, just quartile is like that. This is the name. And then you highlight your numbers here. But after that, you're going to put comma, and then you're going to put 1 for the first quartile, 2 for the second, and 3 for the third. Now, you can also use this function to find the minimum value and the maximum value, but sometimes using the min and max is kind of easier to do that, okay? And then you close the parentheses, and when I press enter, it's going to give me the first quartile, okay? Okay, then you do the same. You put equals, you spell quartile, and when you just type Q, it's right there. And then you highlight your data, and you do comma 2, close the parentheses. That's going to give me the second quartile, which will be the same like the median. And then you're doing quartile 3, which is the same function, equals quartile. And then you highlight your data, and then you put comma 3 for the third one, 3, close the parentheses. And that's my third quartile. Now the IQR, when you calculate that, IQR is technically the difference between the quartile 3 and quartile 1. I mean, you can do it here by hand, subtract from 31.25 minus 23.5, but Excel can do it for you. So you do equals, and then you click at the number for quartile 3, which is 31 point something. So click there, minus, you click quartile 1 and enter. Okay, so when you subtract the answer from quartile 3 minus quartile 1, that's your IQR. And then you have 2 more calculations you need to do, the 10th quartile and the 90th quartile. I'm sorry, percentile. So the function here is percentile, so you're going to put equals, and you start typing in percent, like percentile. It's right here, the one with percentile only. And then you're going to highlight your data, of course. Only the numbers, only the quantitative parameter, only the ages. Then you're going to do comma. And then after the comma, you're going to put what percent you want to calculate of your data. So if you want 10% of your data, you're going to change 10% to decimal, and that's what you're going to put here. So 10% is 0.1. 98th percentile is going to be 0.09. If you want to calculate 23rd percentile, you're going to put, after you highlight your data, you're going to put comma 0.23. If you want to calculate the 5th percentile, you're going to put 0.05. Okay, and then you close the parentheses, and when you press enter, you're going to see the 10th percentile. And then you do the same for the 90th. You put equals, percentile, this one, and then you highlight your numbers, all of them, comma. Now 90% is 0.90 or just 9. And then close the parentheses, and that's your 90th percentile. So these are the numbers I get. So these are the calculations we did. Now, we're gonna do that next time when you meet. We're gonna include this table, and make sure when you include, or I'll talk about that next time. You need to include what you're calculating, the value of it, and then what is the interpretation. Okay, for your specific data. So now let's double check the numbers we got. So make sure we have. Let me make it smaller. Let's go here to see the value I got. I just want to double check with you if I get the correct numbers. So you have 28.3, 26, 25, 7.6 when you round this, the standard deviation 7.6, 25 is the range, 23, and everything looks the same, right? Hold on, the 90th percentile, it's a little off. Let me double check that. Yeah, if you round 7.75 to 1 decimal, it goes 7.1. Let me check the 90th percentile. I was talking, so let's see that. Okay, so the last one. Oh, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna do this one more time. I don't know what I did. Okay, so I have equals percentile. And then I highlight my numbers only. And then I put comma 0.9. And that's 37. So I guess this is the right one. Okay, I'm doing it 2 times and this is the right one. Okay, so that's how you do this. Excel, all the calculations are done. And then next time, so what I need you to do, save this file. Everything you created for your data, save it. And then you need to go here, and this is everything we need for your case study. And then you're gonna go to your modules, and then you're gonna attach it to hybrid reflection assignment number 2. You're gonna go there and you're gonna write your 300 words and you're gonna attach the file we just created, okay? So pretty much that's what we have for hybrid Saturday, the first one, the second one actually, okay? If you guys have any questions, please reach out and I'll be happy to answer it, okay? So that's for now. See you next Saturday.